Hi, I'm Jay, the happy colorist, and today I have a video about my sketchbooks. I wanted to show them to you, show you what's in them and how I organize all my swatches and color schemes and ideas. When I started to color, I think one of the earlier videos I watched was a video where Peter Hewitt talked about her swatch book, and she really stressed that it was important, or that it was really helpful to have a swatch book. So at the very beginning of me starting to getting into adult coloring, I got this little notepad and started to collect all my colorings in this. So this is with me since 2015 already. As you will be able to see, my swatch book is pretty unorganized, and at some point I got really fed up with that I would never just find what I was looking for. Sometimes in my videos you'll see me just page through the swatch book and not find whatever I am searching for. So yeah, I'm thinking about organizing this better. I don't have a perfect solution yet, but you'll see. In the front of the swatch book I keep my paper samples. I suppose I could put them somewhere else too, but in the beginning of the swatch book seemed like a good idea to me. And I have the swatches of the Sakura Koi brush pens that I own. I didn't want to put them in the swatch book just in case I got more, so that I wouldn't, that I would be able to have them all in one place. But so far this is actually pretty good. The swatch book has pretty toothy paper, so in hindsight it's not perfect because it's a bit too textured for colored pencil, and it's medium thick. Because I was super ambitious, I drew my own color wheel right at the front. I don't think I've ever looked at it again. Then, since these were one of the first pencils I own, I used to have, in the very beginning, before I had the swatch book, I made those I printed out these tables and put them on normal copy paper, but then I thought maybe putting it on normal copy paper wasn't good, and so after I had done I think all of the swatches for the Marco Renoirs and the Statelers and all of the pencils that I had before, I decided to have a swatch book. So I still have some of the old swatches back here. And you can see that, especially for the Inktense, this really isn't working so well. Oh, the Korean polycolor. My very earliest swatches. But that's why the first swatches you'll find in here are the Faber-Castell Polychromos, because that's when I started to do swatches. And you can also see that this is how Peter Hewitt has her swatches organized, so I followed her example in the beginning, and this actually worked pretty well because I only had a small selection, and when I then added to the collection I could put the additional colors into the appropriate place without having it all over the place. And here I've noted down which colors I'm actually still missing. This is where I swatched out my soft pastels. I haven't used fixative on these pages, so that's why I always need to have a paper sheet in between. And by this point I think they've rubbed off a bit, so the colors aren't as bright as they come off the pastel, I think. These are the Marco Raffine swatches. Here's some the gel edding gel metallic pens. the signals I have metallic, silver and white. And you can see I just went through the swatch book as I got my supplies. Here you can see ink shining through, and that's because I used fixative on this page at some point. These are my Prismacolor Premieres. And this is actually the first swatch that I had made and used for quite a while. But I then decided that it would be easier to have it like this, and I much prefer this small overview so that on one view I can see all the colors that I have and look at them and compare them. So this is how I have set up all my swatches now. And I put fixative on this because the more I went through the book, I noticed that the pigment would rub off on the other side and it faded here. So if I could, because there was nothing on the back side, I used fixative on it. These are my Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer Aquarelle, the 48 box that I have, plus the extras that I got. These are in here. And these are my Derwent Inktense, the 72 full set. Here you can see I just put down some color combinations that I liked. And that's part of the problem with this book. It's just in between all of the swatches are some, color ideas. Then I have the Derwent Drawing 24 and the Derwent Color Soft. This is the page with all my pan pastels. Again, I haven't used fixative on it, so I need to have a sheet in between, and you can see that especially the darker colors rub off. These are my Caran d'Ache Luminance, and this is where you can really see that the paper is pretty toothy, and the Caran d'Ache Luminance don't really agree with the paper, because you can see that I couldn't get rid of the texture, even in the areas where I want to burnish it. So these actually don't look as bright as they could, I think. These are the Derwent Color Soft. And here I have just some color combinations that I picked up. They're usually not mine. I think some of them are from Color with Claire. These are, as you said, it's a grasshopper from Peter Hewitt. This is a jellyfish from Lost Ocean from Peter Hewitt. Just if I wanted to reuse these color schemes. This is Enchanted Forest Leaves, the tutorial that Peter Hewitt did. Here are the color combinations that Color with Claire did. They're not all, but I just picked some of them out. And again, the color combinations are just in the middle of the swatch book. These are the Koh-i-No Polycolor 72, right in the middle of more color combinations. These are my Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2, the ones I have. I started with a 30 set, and as you can see, I started adding onto it, and this already annoys me because they're not in order. Apparently I wanted to re-swatch the luminance and didn't, because I didn't do the grid very nicely. And here are the pearl colors, the Coliro pearl colors that I had. And I started here with the few I had, and then I decided that it might be better to just put them on better paper, so I swatched them out on better paper. So you can see I really love these. Here I did some color combination tryouts. This is my Holbein artist set. Again, you can see that because the paper is very, very textured, it's not as bright as it could be, I think. And you can also see that here it really pressed and rubbed off. So these colors, if you put them on, are actually much brighter than they appear now, because lots of it just rubbed off. This is my polychromos set. As many of it as I have. As you can see, I'm lacking some of the grays, but I have all of the others. And as I talked about in my coloring supplies video, at first I only had these Caran d'Ache Pablos to supplement the polychromos, until I then found out that I really liked the Pablos. So I noted them down here. And again, you can see that a lot of the color rubbed off. These are the swatches of my Pablos. I almost have them all again, except for some of the grays. These are the swatches of my Guang Hui, 160 pieces, and you can see that I used fixative on it, as you can see the grid here. And nothing pressed through the other side. So these are true colors, and because they're so soft, they go really fine on the paper. Really like those pencils. A lot of the blues are very similar though. Here I put some the glitters I have, and I pressed too much on the Wink of Stella, so it leaked a lot. So instead of wasting it somewhere by swiping it off, I just put it all in here. And then I put transparent tape on top of it, so that it wouldn't glitter all over the swatch book. And then lately I decided that I wanted to re-swatch the Marco Ruffins, just to have a good a good swatch grid for them, because I hadn't so far. And I really like how they look, freshly swatched out. And this is my Arteza color pencils swatch. And here I put the Scorpion set of the Black Widows. I didn't put it in the big grid just in case I got the other two sets and wanted to put them into one big grid. Yeah, that's this. In the end, I use this just a bit as a testing page. But yeah, I don't have anything more in it. And the very bottom, as I've shown, I have some of those and some of the old swatches that I used to have. Right in the beginning, I had the honorable thought of combining all my pencils into one big table. As you can see, I didn't get very far because I stopped. So this is my swatch book. I'm really, really glad that I have it, and I'm glad that I had it from the very beginning. Every time I pick out pencils, I use it. I use the swatches, but before I use it, I always leaf through it for 5 minutes because I can't find what I'm looking for. So especially with having the color combinations just in the middle of it, that's just confusing. So when I watched Lovella's video about her swatch books, she showed that she had several, and especially she had this idea for a coloring diary where you put in all your color combinations for the pictures you've done. And I really like this idea, both as a memory, like a real diary to see what you've done through the time, and also just to store good color combinations that you've discovered so that you can reuse them. So I got one of these nice little notebooks. And in the very beginning is the color diary. And I don't know whether I will continue with this, but because at the moment I put all the colorings in these little on these little note pages, I just glued them in. So these are the ones I already have done, and then I have, you know, half of the book basically to just continue with that. Then over here I started the section with color combinations to just note down, and I began one day when I was sick in bed to just watch through Color with Sammy, Sammy's hair color videos, which she has 10 of, and then try to write down which colors she used for hair. And I only had the Artisas with me in bed, so these were the only ones where I could do swatches. But I mean, this is just a normal notebook, right? But the swatches, they look pretty good. So the normal notebook paper is fine. Yeah, that's as far as I got. And then at the very back, I started to note down which color alongs I want to follow. And my goal was to follow one color along every month. But then Lovella did another video about which or how she picked which page to color, and she has a very similar setup to me, but of course way more organized. And she tries to follow as many color alongs, or she writes down all the color alongs she knows of in a given month, and then she tries to follow as many color alongs as she can, and tries to match one picture to as many color alongs as she can. And that sounds like such a fun idea. So I think I will continue to pick out one color along that I think is especially nice for each month, but then I will also start to note down all the color alongs that I know of for any given month, and then try to do as she does and try to match as many color alongs with one picture as I can, because that just sounds really fun. And then in the back I just have a little list of my ideas for YouTube videos and what I already did and what I want to do. So this is already way more organized than this one. I'm not going to redo the swatches, and I pondered about taking out the swatches or the color combinations, but the problem is that sometimes I have used both sides of a page, like here. So if I took out these swatches, then I would lose these, or if I took out these color combinations, I would lose these swatches. So I haven't found a good idea for that. Maybe I'll yeah, because most of them are double-sided, unfortunately. I only started to use single-sided back here. And I don't want to redo the swatches because it takes such a long time to do them. So for now I think I'll stick with my very unorganized swatch book and be very organized in this super nice new book inspired by Lovella. So I hope this video was interesting to you. Maybe you got inspired to start a swatch book as well, or have a second like coloring diary like Lovella does. I can highly recommend just having a book to note down things like that, especially the swatches, but also all other ideas that you have and want to come back to, because it's such a helpful resource to have. So yeah, if you don't use one yet, maybe try it out, get a little notebook like this, write all the things down and see how it goes. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!